Why is the welterweight champion Kamaru Usman calling out a retired GSP? He did so recently in an interview. To be fair, the question in the interview was, if you had the choice, who would be your dream fight? And his answer was GSP. Now, I personally feel like this whole interview was disrespectful. I think that it was disrespectful to the contenders, the worthy contenders in the welterweight division, to the legend GSP, as well as to the sport itself. And I got a few reasons as to why I feel this way. The first point is, of course, the deserving contenders, the people who deserve a shot against Kamaru, or to put it more simply, the people who deserve a shot for the belt. The top-ranked contender right now is Gilbert Burns, who, of course, was going to fight Kamaru just a few weeks ago if he hadn't tested positive for COVID. Not much you can do there except give him another shot in the near future. Personally, I think that Gilbert's going to beat him. I think Gilbert's the guy to take the belt and the next champion. I think that he possesses a bunch of threats to Kamaru, things that he's better at than Kamaru. I think he's better than Kamaru at the things that Kamaru is good at. So, I don't want to see Kamaru ducking him. I want him to fight Gilbert. Gilbert's earned it, and he should get that fight. The second-ranked contender is Colby Covington. Obviously, Colby and Kamaru fought, was it last December or November or something? And it was a great fight. A fight that Kamaru was able to finish him, which was uncharacteristic of him. But he's able to finish him in the last minute of a 25-minute fight, a very even fight up until that point. So it's not like he just walked in there and cleaned this dude out and closed the book on him. Colby is going to get another shot. And granted, he wins his next fight, whoever that's against. If he can win his next fight, then he's right back in the line for another title shot. And I don't think anybody can really argue with that. The third-ranked contender is, of course, Leon Edwards. Again, this is a guy that Kamaru's beat, but that was years ago. So long ago, in fact, that Leon's been able to string together 8 consecutive wins. That's a bit of an anomaly in this sport. Of course, there's plenty of people who have, like Kamaru. But if that's not enough to get you a title shot, then what is? The fourth-ranked contender is Jorge Masvidal. Again, I know that Kamaru beat Jorge recently. But, man, this was on 6 days' notice for Masvidal. And, again, a 25-minute fight that Kamaru was not able to get him out of there. Again, he wasn't able to close the book on Masvidal. He wasn't able to clean him out of the argument. Masvidal will get another chance. Again, granted, he can get that next win in his next fight. He's right back in line. And that's not to mention all the other contenders, all the other fighters who may become contenders over the next year or two. There's a lot of good fighters in the division who may very well be deserving of a shot very soon. So to just brush over these guys, I think is disrespectful to the amount of work that Kamaru knows these fighters have put in. The second point is, man, George is old. He's 40 years old or close to it. He's retired twice. And he's been retired for a while. His first retirement came in, I looked this up. I can't believe it's been so long ago. But his first retirement was in November of 2013. That was nearly 7 years ago. In fact, Kamaru's first professional fight was in November of 2012. His first professional fight, think about that, was 1 year before GSP retired. So this guy's calling out a guy who's been retired the entire length of his professional career. Usman didn't make it into the UFC until July of 2015. So again, a year and a half after GSP retired. Now, I know that GSP did come back for that one fight. He's fought one time in 7 years, but it was at middleweight. He came back to take on Bisping to win that second belt. But it was at middleweight. He hasn't fought in a welterweight fight in 7 years. Now, again, like I said, George is getting old. He's 40 years old. And like all of us, I would imagine that he's having harder time shedding some weight. He's probably growing thicker, like we all do as we get older. Who's to say that George could ever get back to that welterweight limit of 170 pounds? It'd probably be difficult on him physically. He probably wouldn't be able to perform the way he wants to or train the way he wants to. And that would just, level the playing field a little bit. That's not GSP. We wouldn't see GSP. So, you're calling out an old retired fighter. Kamaru says about St-Pierre, I'm better everywhere. I disagree. I don't think you're better anywhere. That was something that George was always known for. Throughout his career, he's still known for it. As a fighter who had few, if any, holes in his game, he was good at absolutely everything. In fact, I feel as if George is one of only 2 fighters ever, the other being Jon Jones, who was able to reach really the pinnacle of success. And what I mean by that is they spent the first half of their career just walking through people, demolishing them, beating them at what they were best at, what came easiest, seeing the victory and taking it. But then they got to a certain point where they kind of changed their game plan. They no longer said, I'm going to beat you at what I'm good at. They said, I'm going to beat you at what you're good at. Now, that, like I said, that's an elite pinnacle of success. And there may have been some other fighters who could have done that. But in my opinion, the only ones that did do that and did it consistently were St-Pierre and Jon Jones. It's not the smartest way to fight. And granted, it didn't even make for the most entertaining of fights. Both of these guys, their best and most entertaining fights were kind of early, not just early in their career, but early in their title run. But that's a phenomenal, a mind-blowing level of success. And Kamaru is definitely not on that level. In fact, what Kamaru's best at in wrestling, and in my opinion, about the only thing he's good at, that was what St-Pierre started as, I think that St-Pierre is going to beat him everywhere, at least a prime St-Pierre will beat this guy everywhere. I just don't think Kamaru is as good as St-Pierre in any aspect of MMA. So let's just pretend, just for argument's sake, that Kamaru has cleared out his division, has closed the book on all these worthy competitors, has beaten them handily. When that happens, the way St-Pierre did, the way Jon Jones did, the way Anderson Silva did, what's the next move? Do you call out retired fighters? No. You go up or down in weight class, right? And go and take on the best that the next division has to offer. So if you think about that, then you realize that if Kamaru was to go up a division, he's going to be taking on Israel Adesanya. If he goes down a division, he's going to be taking on Khabib Nurmagomedov. I don't think either one of those are a good idea for Usman. I think if he goes down, takes on Khabib, he's going to get a dose of his own medicine. Khabib's going to stand with him for a couple of minutes. He's going to hit him with a few things, going to take him down and choke him out or just ground and pound on him for the rest of the time. If he goes up in weight to take on Izzy, one of the most phenomenal strikers in the game today, he's going to get his block knocked off. I don't think that he stands much of a chance against either of those guys at those guys' weight classes. So, I kind of think that Kamaru probably knows this too, and that's why he's calling out a retired old fighter. So, obviously, I'm not a big Kamaru Usman fan. I find his fight style boring, but more than that, I just find this dude he's not very genuine, he's not authentic. He's always talking about what it means to be a champion, and I just don't think this guy knows the first thing about it. Champions should build up other fighters and build up their sport. But this guy is always cutting down other fighters and not giving them the shots they deserve. He says that people won't fight him, people won't sign the contract. But it appears to me that he's the one ducking fights and just not giving these deserving fighters their opportunities. He's always compiling his list of evidence to support his claims as to why he won't fight somebody. He's always kind of telling us, don't buy into the story, as if he's the smartest guy in the room, as if we don't know anything. You know, whenever he's asked about Leon Edwards, when they say, when are you going to fight Leon? He says, why should I fight Leon? I already beat him. You know, yeah, but that was years ago. Leon, as I talked about earlier, Leon's won a lot of fights in a row, and he deserves a shot at the title. And when he fought you way back then, it wasn't for the title. He doesn't deserve another fight against you, so to say. He deserves a fight at the title which you currently possess. And in the most recent fight against Masvidal, the story was Masvidal took this fight on 6 days' notice, and Kamaru comes out and says, "Oh, don't believe that. He's been training for me for a long time, not just 6 days." Who are you trying to convince, man, yourself or us? Because we don't see the same thing you're seeing. We're not hearing the same story that you're constantly telling us. You know, again, he's in his way of disrespecting fighters. We call him an owl now. We've kind of built a meme around it. But anytime he's asked about a fighter, he says, who? Who? It's just disrespecting these guys. He should be building them up. I mean, again, he's just not genuine. He seems to be a walking contradiction. You know, I once heard Ben Askren. He was asked, why does he call Kamaru Marty? And Ben gave a response that I thought was very entertaining and accurate. He said, because that's what he introduced himself to me as. You know, when Kamaru was in college, he went by Marty Usman, and his nickname was the American Dream. Now, of course, he's Kamaru Usman, and his nickname is the Nigerian Nightmare. These aren't just two different nicknames. These are complete opposites of a huge contradiction here. I mean, on top of the fact that he can't finish fights, he just doesn't seem to carry himself with the aura that a champion should. I feel as if we need better. I feel as if we deserve better. In fact, I'll tell you the kind of champion we deserve. We deserve a champion like GSP.